Well, everyone, welcome to World at War Comics. I am excited to talk to you, Chris, because I have gone back and forth quite a few times, man. You are quite the connected gentleman, and you have been extremely helpful to me in the podcast, and introducing me to some amazing folks. And I know that you have been kind of working on something yourself for a little while, and here we are, my friend. I cannot wait to dig into it, but. Chris Yates, man, welcome. It's good to have you as an actual guest instead of kind of in the background, helping me out.
Yes, it's a long time coming to be my own solo act, but here I am. Yeah, we're here to promote our new Kickstarter, Marcus Walker KINGSLAYER Protocol, and I'm excited to dig in. But also, thanks for always answering my emails and being a stand-up gentleman, because I know it's I'm sure you get inundated with podcast requests and things like that. So I'm just grateful that you made time, and happy to be there.
Absolutely, man. I feel like I owe you, my friend. I mean, this is the least I can do. In addition to that, this thing looks absolutely amazing. I mean, the art's insanely good. The story sounds like it's going to be really badass. I feel like you're onto something here, Chris, man, and I cannot wait to get my hands on that physical copy and check it out. You got some amazing artists on covers. Like, there's a lot to talk about today, because this thing I think is going to be pretty dope. If you haven't got it yet, or if you haven't backed it, or just go over there and check it out, I'm going to put in the comments right here, everyone. Here is the actual link. It's also in the show notes. If you're watching this after the live, you'll be able to get over there. But this is something you definitely want to check out. I mean, you're a project we love from Kickstarter, so
yes,
I'm not the only one that believes in you. There's a lot of other people and how this could go. And it funded first day. So we certainly want to put you in a position where it's not one and done, that we got you all settled and set for issue 2, 3, and beyond. But
absolutely.
Man. Well, before we dig into the Kickstarter, Chris, if it's okay, because I kind of know a little bit about what you've done in the comic book industry. For people that are meeting you for the first time, can you kind of talk about your background? Because you have some pretty incredible background in the comic industry that's probably led to this, in addition to being a fan yourself.
Absolutely. So I originally was not into comics and entertainment and stuff like that. I was originally a track and field college coach. I was getting my master's. I was a graduate assistant for Concordia Irvine. And then I had this life moment with my mom. For those that don't know, I had my mom got diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. And she had this moment where we were like, hey, we know you don't want to be a coach. So you've always been a fan of like movies and comics. Like, you have my blessing. Like, go to Hollywood, give it the old college try, And I was like, okay, how do I get into Hollywood? Because that was one of the biggest things I had a struggle with, because where do you go? Like, there's a million people trying to get in through that door. And I realized that, okay, I'm still a student, so I can technically apply for internships. So I just applied for every entertainment internship I could find. And one of them was I did social media for a video game studio. And then the other one was for Beau Flynn, which is Dwayne Johnson's producing partner. And he is the producer on like Black Adam, San Andreas. And I quickly learned how to kind of evaluate scripts, take coffee, how to get, dry cleaning in a reasonable time. And so I did that for about 6 to 8 months, something like that. And then at the end of it, I'm like, hey, I love comic book movies. I would love to be a part of this. What do I do? They're like, you should go to an agency. I'm like, cool. Out of the big 3, which is CAA, WME, and UTA, they're like, you should go to UTA. I'm like, okay, why is that? They're like, they just seem more like art focused and chill. I'm like, all right, great. Can I get an introduction? And they're like, absolutely not. I'm like, cool. So wow. And so I like, okay, I'm going to try for UTA. Right. So I found I found an email, and I just cold emailed it. And I was like, hey, at the time I'm 29. I have a master's degree, and I know how to take orders, and I want to start. When can I start? And they're like, all right, let's have a proper interview, but we could potentially start you on Monday. And for some reason, it just worked out for me that way. And then I quickly realized, okay, if I want to go to Marvel Studios or DC, everything says you have to have about a year of production experience. And so for the first month, of being at the entertainment industry agency, I was like, okay, I need to teach myself. I need to learn. I need to kind of just basically keep my mouth quiet and open my ears and just see how much I can absorb from these people, because they're much smarter than me. And I'm trying to, like everybody else coming into the agency, use them to hopefully step. And stepping stone. And so I just made myself available to people, learned, and then quickly an opportunity came up to work for an agent. His name was I won't say his name. He worked for Rick Remender, and I worked for Rick Remender's agent, and I quickly learned, working how to work with Donnie Cates, Frank Miller, and then I also found out, and this isn't giving away too much information, I found out who was the biggest agent in terms of comic books outside of my own boss. And I found out it was James Gunn's agent. And I was like, hey, I know all about comics. They're like, cool. Here's 3 questions. And if you can answer them, in reasonable fashion, I'll talk to you some more. And I was like, okay, boom, 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 boom. He's like, all right, you know better than me. Like, what do you want to do? And so I just kind of learned about Boom and Dynamite and Vault during that time. And then I was connected to, James Tynion, and I was able to help him get his books off the ground. And then I kind of became known as this person who knows comics in a way that the average entertainment person didn't. And again, this wasn't anything special. I just was an avid reader of comics. I was kind of not necessarily a Wednesday warrior, but I was definitely like reading every week as much as I could. I was one of those kids back in the day, when Barnes & Noble and Borders had that cafe spot where you could read comics for days on end or hours on end and no one would say a thing. I don't know if they still do that, but that's how I was able to kind of engross myself with comics in a real way. And so I kind of had an idea or takes on it. So I used all that information. And then when we were able to help James sell his first book, I'm like, do I get 10%? And they're like, we'll promote you. I'm like, oh, cool. So I did that for a year and a half. And then I quickly realized I did not want to be an agent, just because that is a grind. And I didn't really fit the culture in terms of like, you first one in, last one out, like that was a grind. And I was living in Long Beach. So it was about an hour and a half drive to Beverly Hills every day. So not the most fun thing if you have to be in work by 7 a.m. and you have to leave around 7 p.m., driving 3 to 4 hours, not the greatest. So, when I quickly realized that was no longer going to be a thing, I was able to meet with Disney, and I basically said, hey, is there an opportunity here? And my old boss, Elizabeth Newman, not to bury the lead, was like, yes, you should come and work for me on the creative acquisitions team. And I'm like, cool. So I went to Walt Disney, and what that is, for those who may not know, is the creative acquisition team is basically the scout division for Disney. So I would specifically look for non-traditional IP, which meant anything geek oriented. So that's comic books, video games, board games, anything in the geek sphere, the con thing. I was looking to see if we could potentially flip it for writers, directors, producer pod deals, things of that nature. And I did that for about a year and a half. And then Bob Iger's like, hey, we're laying off 7,000 people. We're starting with your department. And I'm like, oh crap, and I had just kind of had this bucket list dream career place, because if you go in entertainment, unless it's Netflix now at this point, but back in, I'd say 3 or 4 years ago, it's Disney, right? Almost everybody wanted to work for Disney. And I had just finally gotten there. I had reached that point, or I climbed that mountain for to correct my metaphor. And I was just like, what do I do? And so I had this moment of like, okay, I know it's a joke now I have with my friends, because when they see it, I say this, but it's the truth. It's like, when I was reflecting, I was like, okay, there's 2 things I want to do. I want to marry my girlfriend, and I want to make a comic, because if I died, those would be the things I would regret the most. And so I married my girlfriend. She's now my wife. And now here we are with with the comic. And so that is a very long and short version of my story and how I got into this comic thing. And so basically, between the time I got laid off at Disney to now, for the past 3 years, I've been kind of working with smaller publishers, entertainment companies as a freelance consultant in terms of PR, marketing, Kickstarter consultant. I was fortunate enough to work with, I think, 4 campaigns last year, and we were able to raise 88 grand over those 4 campaigns with pure indie comic talent. So no kind of prior attachments, no former IP. These are strictly off the ground type ideas. And we were able to get roughly around 88 grand amongst the 4. And here I am now using all those things I've learned into my own Kickstarter. And yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I just from a little that I've got to know you over the last couple of years, man, you are very well connected, and you've helped a lot of amazing people. And I'm so happy now that you're doing this for yourself. because I think that is that's warranted, man. I think you deserve this, and you have an amazing story. But I appreciate you sharing that with me, Chris, because I knew some of that, but I didn't know all of that, and that's quite a background, man. Touching a lot of huge organizations there, my friend. What a great experience, right? That you could utilize.
Yes, I was
for your own.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. When we hopefully when we meet in Orlando next week, I can tell you a little more things off the record over some drinks.
I would love that, man. Drinks on me, my friend, but I definitely want to do that, man. That'll be awesome. That'll be awesome. Well, let's pull up the Kickstarter because and you were kind of talking about it. Obviously, you didn't want to say too much at the time because I'm sure that you were still working on a few things. But when I got a little sneak peek of what you were working on, I was like, dude, this thing looks insanely good. The art's insane. I don't know, man. Maybe we could just kind of check out the trailer real quick if you're cool with that.
Absolutely. Go for it.
Yeah, let's do that real quick. That way people could check that out.
Calling all kaiju fans, Marcus Walker Kingslayer Protocol is a kinetic sci-fi comic with manga-inspired kaiju versus mech action, an ideal fit for fans of Ultraman Rising, Big Hero 6, and Power Rangers. As the war wages on between kaijus and Kingslayer mechs in New Honolulu City, Marcus Walker is forced into hiding under the watchful eye of his authoritative family determined to protect him. One Piece live-action co-creator, showrunner, and writer Steve Maeda deems it a heart-pounding thriller that explores the nature of trauma and the unseen chokehold of the past, a rollicking family adventure with big fights and bigger feels. This Kickstarter-exclusive comic will feature one-of-a-kind collectible covers by New York Times bestseller Sean Murphy, Kevin Keane, Sia Oyam, and New York Times bestseller Rob Gilroy. Don't miss your chance to back the Kickstarter today and claim your exclusive copy of Marcus Walker Kingslayer Protocol.
Those are some like super powerful names that you're working with, man. That is crazy to have covers done by those folks, man.
Thank you. And if you want, we can just to kind of go back into detail about the trailer. So everything we just already covered. How I position this video was specifically how I would pitch other people's properties. So just to kind of, let's peek behind the curtain a little bit. So when I would pitch books, right, I would be like, hey, this book is this meets this. And I would say it has to be focused around this said character. So everything I had kind of learned through UTA and Disney, because I was pitching other people's books to other people to buy them, right? I have to basically tell potential backers, be like, hey, this is what the book is. And some people say your hook or your comp should be maybe a little more out there, or people would be like, oh, what does that mean? But for me, as my first time out the gate, I wanted it to be very specific and very kind of in the same lane. And what I mean by that is Big Hero 6, Ultraman Rising, and Power Rangers, they all kind of fit in the same ecosystem for genre, right? So that was very intentional because the book, this first version of the book is very much in that lane of, Japanese manga, anime style meeting American comics, Saturday morning cartoons. So we very much wanted it to be like, this is exactly what you could expect when you put this in. And when we got when we decided to do it ourselves, we knew we needed a pull quote, which for those who don't know, a pull quote is basically someone reviewing it to hopefully use it as marketing material or just a nice thing to say about your book. And I'm sure you've probably provided some pull quotes and things like that. So basically I was just like, who is the best person I can think of in this kind of anime manga geek sphere space? And it was the only person I could think of was Steve Maeda. I mean, I think it either dropped yesterday or today. Season 2 of One Piece dropped. And I mean, his work speaks for itself. And then, so I was able to reach out to my old boss who works at the management firm that he is represented by. And I just wrote a very nice letter. And I'm like, hey, Elizabeth, I know you know Steve or have connections to Steve. Could you put this in front of him? And then she's like, sure, I'll give it a shot. And he was so kind. He, gave me his contact information, and he's been super supportive. And he just said, here you go, man. I hope this is what you're looking for. I had a great time reading it. And I was just like, what? And, as a first time creator, I'm just kind of like, this is an embarrassment of riches because, as you said, I also had a bunch of covers. And so I really wanted to try my best to kind of stand out. And so again, when we were compiling this video, some people are like, oh, you should have this kind of orchestral sweeping music where it feels epic and bombastic. And I was like, yes, but then I feel like that makes us feel like everybody else, and not in a bad way, but also like Gundam, Evangelion, Pacific Rim, they usually all have that kind of huge operatic, you know, cinematic style scoring. And I never thought of Marcus Walker Kingslayer Protocol as that. What I thought of it was more of like a punk rock, metalcore, you know, K-Rock meets Octane for those who listen to Sirius XM, where it was very much like Bring Me the Horizon, Beartooth, even Ice Nine Kills in a certain way. Like I wanted it to have some energy to it. And so that's kind of why the music sounds the way it does. And also, not to get another tangent, our logo designer, Ryan Clark, he's the lead singer of a metal band called Demon Hunter. And so we have this kind of rock and roll metal energy going into this book. So that's why it kind of looks the way it does. It feels the way it does. And we packaged it in that way. So that's kind of a quick little breakdown of how we put that trailer together and why we did that. Because again, that was just me saying, okay, what did I learn from all those years of pitching? How can I make it super tight, less than a minute, generally speaking, and you just kind of get to the point. It's a family adventure in this Japanese anime Saturday morning cartoon vein that feels just like these things. And, you know, I have the covers and then I have Steven. And so that's kind of how I crafted, or we crafted rather, the video.
That is crazy, man. Well, I mean, you would know. So anybody who is looking at doing a Kickstarter, man, I think you got a lot of really good free advice from a guy who's been extremely successful helping others, man. That's awesome, Chris. I'm definitely keeping that in the back of my head too for my next one, man. That's awesome.
Oh, absolutely. And I know you alluded to the covers. So how we got those specifically with Sean and Rob. So I had met both of them through my Disney UTA days. And I just, you know, tried to help them flip their things into movies and TVs. And some happened, some didn't. You know, nothing got announced, sadly. But, you know, behind the scenes, things happened. And when I told them, hey, I want to go and do my own thing now, they're like, cool, do things yourself, try to go to Image. You know, they started doing those mentoring type things, as you would hopefully expect, because those guys are so cool. And, you know, they did not fail me in any regard. And then when I said, hey, I don't want to be disrespectful, but could we make a deal? You know, can I commission you guys to do this? And they're like, sure, well, let's figure it out. You know, we'll make a deal that seems fair to us both. And then we'll give you this. And so that's how Sean and Rob came about. And, for those who don't know, I'm helping Rob with a particular new project that's coming out, but that hasn't been announced. So we'll see. But you know, I'm sure Tommy will. You'll have an exclusive coming soon, hopefully, or at least a conversation. And then with Sia, I was just a huge fan, and I had reached out to her, I think, during my indie publishing days, and I'm just like, hey, I think you're great. Your art speaks for itself. You have a wonderful kind of community personality, whatever, you know, however you want to phrase it in terms of building this for yourself. How can I be helpful? And she's like, I would love to meet Sean Murphy. So I connected her with Sean, and she's like, hey, dude, if you ever need help or if you need whatever, just let me know. And so I had told her I built this kind of marketing plan, consulting thing. And she's like, cool, let's do kind of like a tit for tat in terms of like, if I help you, you help me. And I'm like, absolutely. So I helped her with her Neo Wonderland campaign, which did great. And I'm excited to see that come out. And then the last one was Kevin Keane. He's the Gunslinger, Spawn, King Spawn, and Rat City cover artist. And the cool thing about that is me and him are going to be hopefully doing a Kickstarter, I think next year at some point, and that'll be my first horror book. And so I'm very excited to bring him into the fold, because again, how we compiled everything in terms of this Kickstarter, it's either a friend or a mentor or someone that's in the family. Like, this is very much a very deliberate style Kickstarter that we're building here, because we didn't want to just do a lot of things, because I'm sure, as you know, and again, if I'm talking too much, please stop me.
Chris, this is all about we want to know the story, man. Okay, because you're working with some pretty big names here, man. That's awesome.
Okay, cool. We didn't want to do too much our first time out the gate, specifically me. Again, I know people like doing t-shirts, they like doing keychains, they like doing foils, medals. That's all great, and I have no shade towards those things. But for me, I didn't want to do that because I don't buy those things. And if, let's say, Marcus is a success, which it's starting to become. And fans, once they read it, they're like, cool, we want t-shirts and this. Cool, we'll do that next time. But right now, we very much want it to be about the book because we didn't want to have too much overhead. We didn't want to do a million different things, which then bog down the book because, again, that could just delay the book. And the whole part of this is you're trying to build something, right? So my thinking with the team with Simone was, hey, I don't feel comfortable selling a 20-page book for $5 my first time out the gate. I struggle with that because it's $5 for like 22 pages. And I know some people have their thoughts about that. So I was like, hey, if we're putting this all on our own money, our own dime, let's make this really meaningful and special. Let's condense it and let's do a 48-page oversized double issue and we'll sell it for 10 because I felt that was a better ask, 10 for 48 versus 5 for 20. And so we kind of just had that mindset of keeping everything very lean, very tight. And I'm sure people are telling me I'm doing something wrong. But at the same time, for me, I just felt that was the most fair to trying building backers because, again, it's our first book for me. I mean, everybody around me is seasoned vets in that regard. But specifically for me, it's my first time out. I want to make sure I deliver a good book, whether, it's the quality of the printing, the writing, just the package. I want that to be as best as it can be. And so, again, we didn't want to delay shipping because we're saying August, but we're hoping for earlier because by the time this campaign ends, the book will be completely done outside of the higher tier people. So I think it's tier 5, basically, if you get the collector's edition or higher, you get your name in the book. Right. Outside of that, the book's done. Or will be done by the time this is closed, the campaign. So when it's done, like after, let's say, we'll keep the late pledges open for about a couple of weeks or so, just to see if there's any stragglers. And then we're off to the printing. And so we're trying to get this in people's hands before summer if possible, and not the end of summer. Because let's say people read it and they want more. Cool. We'll hopefully shoot for fall or early next spring for the second one. And hopefully it won't take 3 years this time. It'll take, a couple of months to get going instead of 3. And so I'll stop talking now because I've talked too much.
No, Chris, that's awesome. I mean, one of my questions is going to be, where does this story go from here? Right. So we get the first 48 pages. Do you have like story for a certain amount? Is that something that you could talk about? Like, what is the goal
Absolutely.
here? Is it 5, 10 issues? Is it ongoing if possible?
Yeah. So as of right now, when we had first kind of crafted the story, it was very decompressed and it was about 12 issues, a very long 12 issues, let's say. And it was very oriented towards the LCSs, right? Your kind of traditional comic shops. And then we quickly realized we were going to do it ourselves. So we condensed it into 6 issues. So we just said, hey, if we're paying for this, what really matters? And also, like, we took a page from Scott Snyder because Absolute Batman's selling, and we're trying to replicate that, but we're just trying to say, okay, what are those touchstones that he hits upon? And in his Substack, he calls it, I think it's called momentism, or what are those oh crap moments? And so it's like, how can we have an oh crap moment every few pages, or at least once every issue? And so how we condensed it, there are 6 issues, and we're going to hopefully condense them into 3 oversized issues. So this is the first one, and if we're able to do more, we'll have a second and a third Kickstarter, then hopefully do a trade for the 4th one. And then if we're able to, and if we're lucky enough, let's say if a publisher wants to come and pick us up down the road, we can then break those up into 6 issues, because how we wrote it, the pagination is about 21, 22, 23 pages, something like that. So it's a nice even break, but it's also written to have those oh snap moments within every, 5 to 6 pages, or those kind of, big character reveals or twists, so to speak. And then after that, if we are able to do these kind of 3 oversized issues, we do have something that kind of opens the floodgates, so to speak. And that's not a spoiler, but it allows us to do kind of whatever we want within the world of New Honolulu and Marcus Walker, KINGSLAYER Protocol, because where it starts and where it ends, at least within these first issues, is interesting because it gets darker. We lean a little, not graphic by any means, but it gets a little more horror oriented, because that's more of my taste and things like that. And I know to see Simone's muscles kind of grow in that regard, because he's very Power Rangers mech anime oriented in that regard. Now to see him start do softer character moments, but also do some horror elements. It's very exciting to see. So yes, to answer your question, we do have a plan. The first 6 issues or 3 oversized are already written. Basically, Simone just has to draw them, and yeah, it just kind of depends if people actually care.
I think they're going to care, man, because this is so well done, and Simone is just. I mean, you saw some of those interiors on the trailer here. I mean, they're incredible. The colors are incredible. It just feels like
you can scroll down if you want to look at them. I think it's on the page.
Yeah, I think you could. It almost feels like you could trip and fall right into the comic book. I mean, the colors are that vibrant.
The craziest thing about that is, so again, this took 3 years to make, right? At the beginning of this, Antonio, our colorist, this was technically his first comic book, but since it took so long to make, he's gone on to do more books but it's this funny thing of just how things work out in life. And so for him to this be his first comic book, now to have 3 years of experience, for him to revisit it, he's just so excited, because then he can just, do all these things and tricks, and then Simone's adding some things. So yes, you were correct. The colors just literally pop off the screen, and I'm so grateful that they are excited to contribute their talents, because let's just say they're making me look a lot better than I really am.
I mean, that's always the goal, my friend. That's always the goal as a creator, I think.
And that's comics, right? I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No. Yeah,
jump over.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a visual medium, so at the end of the day, I'm just trying to help Simone tell the story. He's the maestro of all of this, right? I give him 2 sentences. He paints and draws all of this. So I'm like, cool. I don't need to micromanage you. You know what you're doing. Like, cool. I'll just wait for the pages to roll in.
I mean, that's a good deal, man, to be honest.
Yeah.
This looks awesome, though, man. So here are some of those interiors we're talking about, but just look at how vibrant they are. The background. I mean, I love it when an artist puts time into the background. Yes. Time constraints. There's a lot of reasons why sometimes they're a little bit more simple, but man, backgrounds really make the difference. And I love the break. It's almost like that old school 90s image where you're breaking some of those borders on the panel, which also kind of draws the eye in. It helps center where you should be looking, so that you could get that emotion. Like, all of those things are working for you, Chris. So you and Simone have done an incredible job just on the panel layout and just the visuals. I mean, it's stunning, man.
Thank you. It's very kind, and I'm learning to take compliments, because I usually, I kind of deflect them because I'm terrible at it. But I will just say thank you. It's again, it's a testament to the team. Truthfully, yes. I can't say enough good things about them. And truthfully, if there's let's call it a secondary goal. I know Marvel and DC are aware of him because he's repped by Oni Robot Studios, and there's other artists who work with Marvel. So I know they're aware of him, but I'm really excited for them to see this version, because if I have to do it myself, I will, but I will put it in their hands to be like, pay attention to this guy. He can do more than just robots and monsters. Okay. Like, because there's quieter moments, and I really mean it, of like young men and having discussions where you feel emotion. And I'm like, okay, if this is pulling at my heartstring, I'm going to hope or anticipate that it will for other people. And I'm really excited for people to see that, because I don't know if he's had that opportunity to really flex those muscles. And I'm really excited for people to check that out, truthfully, at the end of the day. So
yeah, I mean, that's the attitude I think any creator should have with their partners, right? We all want everyone to do better. But yeah, this is just insane. Look at that.
I mean, also, if I'm being a businessman, right? If he gets to jump on a Marvel or DC book, but still does Marcus with us, that just raises our profile even more. So it's like, hey, you go do you, my friend, but don't forget about me, and like figure out what we started,
Don't leave me in the dust, man.
No. But yeah. So
look at this art, though, man. Like I said, the panel layouts are just so good, man.
Thank you.
So and good.
So the funny thing about this is that this is actually the first time we are introduced to Marcus, and I wanted it to be very kind of everyday person type of introduction, because again, for those who don't know, yes, mech suit stories or kind of kaiju stories, generally speaking, the hero or the main character is the hero, and also that main character is also the pilot. So the unique thing with us is Marcus is not a pilot. He's the young brother of the pilot. And honestly, Marcus doesn't even feel like he's the hero of his own story, because again, I don't know how you feel, but there's days where I don't feel like I'm the hero of my story. I'm like, dude, I got this, I got that. I got to make sure, my wife is happy, or, you just have life things happening. And so we very much wanted this to be kind of an entry point, not only because of a story, because for those who know the hero's journey, generally speaking, the character goes from an idyllic kind of youthful state and then gets transported into a new world. This was kind of our tip of the hat, where you start off with a train station and then you kind of see all these cell phone, reels, we'll call them, whatever you want. And then you see him on his phone. And we wanted it to very much be like a connective point of like, oh, that's me, or I know that guy type of a moment. So that's kind of the funny thing, because we have like a news segment, we have a podcast very similar to this going on, and then we have an ad for the Crave, which is a funny story that I can get into, but then also the stupid cat videos that we all see.
Throw those in there, man.
Yeah. So
yeah, Marcus looks awesome. The art looks incredible. Can you share who this gentleman is?
Yeah, so that's actually one of the people. I don't think I've ever told anybody about this story. You're the first one to ask about this page. So this is actually one of the people who works at the Black Obsidian Defense Ridge, which is the company that runs the KINGSLAYER Protocol. And something has happened, and he is being hunted by a said character that is our villain of the book. And we haven't really talked about who they are or what their motives are, because if I do, it'll be a spoiler. but this is I don't know. Have you seen the movie? You might have, but again, I don't know. The movie The Mummy from the 1990s with Brendan Fraser.
I heard they're coming out with a part 2 now.
Yes, or a part 4, I think.
Or part 4,
but,
right, yeah.
So if you remember when Imhotep is running in the cities chasing someone, this is very reminiscent. I had that scene and I'm like, hey, I want to replicate that type of feeling. And that's what Simone came up with. I'm like, okay, take that intention, but apply it into this thing. And so that's what he came up with. And so yeah, this is our villain and our character. I don't want to say his name because that might spoil some things, but let's just say it's not looking good for him.
Okay, fair enough. It doesn't look like it's going very well.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's talk a little bit about the artist edition. What does that mean?
So the artist edition for us is, as you have seen with the art, is very inspired by anime and manga. And one of the beautiful things, or one of the things we've noticed with Simone's art, is that his gray tones are awesome. They look like a manga. And so we thought, how cool would it be if we did like our own artist edition version of our own book? And so what we're doing is we're going to allow the people the opportunity to pledge at this level, and they will get Sean Murphy's cover in black and white, which is the only way you're going to get said cover. So there it is right there. And then you will get a special gray version, halftone treatment version of Simone's pencils. And then you can read it as if it's a manga. And so the balloons will have tails. It won't be like a full-blown manga, but even the balloons will be monotone or gray tone in scale. So it'll look and read like an actual manga.
That's crazy, man.
And so that's a way we wanted to homage, because again, no one on our team is Japanese. We didn't want to culturally appropriate. So it's like, how do we find a way to kind of respect those who came before us, but kind of do our own thing? And so this is what we came up with.
Yeah, that is so cool, man. What a great idea too. And then who better? I mean, Sean Murphy is one of my favorite artists of all time. I just think he's so fantastic as an artist. And then, of course, these colors are incredible. All right, I shouldn't say colors. This gray tone is incredible.
So the funny thing is, here's another story I haven't really shared with people. If you go up to the Sean cover, right? Mm-hmm. You've read Tokyo Ghost, right?
Oh yeah, I have it right here somewhere.
Okay,
right boom, right here.
So my question to you is, who do you think inspired that mech?
Yes, exactly. I'm just gonna slide it out real quick. I was actually reading it for a second time because it's right here. I got my little paper in here.
So look at Dent and now look at Vigil.
Yeah, that's so cool, man.
So
it's cool, bro.
It's very obvious, but for those who don't know, Tokyo Ghost is probably one of my favorite books of all time. And while we were designing it, I mean, Sean's one of my favorite artists, and the fact that I can call him a friend is insane. But I told him, like, hey, could I just respectfully take some creative liberties and pay homage to you. And he's like, yeah, man, that's fine. And so and that's how we kind of came up with some inspiration, we'll call it, from Dent and Vigil. So I got Sean's blessing. And so for Sean to do this type of cover, which homages Tokyo Ghost, but also is influenced by it, it's kind of a full circle moment. And I still can't believe it happened.
Yeah, I mean, for an indie creator to get Sean to do a cover for them, I mean, the guy is probably extremely busy. I've had his wife on, who also is quite the writer.
Yes, she did. She contributed to the White Knight verse. She did the Harley Quinn book, right?
Yeah, she did several. She did Harley Quinn for a while. She helped him on one of the Batman White Knights. And then she has another title called Cherish, which is really good. And it's a Mark Silvestri character that he created a while ago. And so she put a story behind it. And I loved it so much. I reached out to her and we had her on, and I had a blast talking to her, not even knowing that she was married to Sean Murphy. I had no idea. And then when I asked, like, how'd you get into comic books and how'd you start working with DC? And then when she explained, I'm like, wait. Sean Murphy is your husband. Is he there? Can I say hi? Yeah. That's incredible, man. But she was incredible to talk to, just a very pleasant person. And on the novel side, I mean, she's written, I don't know, 50 books. I mean, she is a machine. So
I don't know how people do it.
I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think she does this solely as her career. So she's just popping out story after story. There are a lot of love stories and other things. It's not really my thing, so I don't want to say something wrong. But she is extremely talented as a writer, and she's won all kinds of awards for her novels. And then, like I said, she's been in the White Knight series. She did the Harley Quinn, and then Cherish, which I really love, which is a Mark Silvestri. So, anyways, a little background to Sean's wife, because obviously he's extremely talented. She's pretty damn talented as well.
Dope. I'll have to check into that. I didn't know that. Good to know. See, you learned something new.
Yeah. No, she's awesome, man. But yeah, this art is just insane, and be able to see it before colors. I'll be honest. I think grayscale. A lot of people try to do grayscale. Grayscale is either really good or not very good at all. I don't feel like there's a middle ground in there. And when it's done well, it's incredible. And this is awesome, man. This is awesome.
Well, thank you. That's very kind. And again, that wasn't our intention. It just it was one of those happy accidents. And we're just like, let's just give it a shot. Let's see if people are interested in it. And, very much to what you're saying, everyone seems to be excited about it. And the funny thing is, every artist or creative type, every single one of them's like, hey, love Antonio and his colors, but I want the artist edition. I'm like, fair enough. Simone appreciates it.
Yeah, no, good for Simone, man. That's awesome that he's able to get all of his talent out there like this as well. But it looks cool, man. Look at the detail, man. It's just insane.
Yeah, we're very excited about it all.
Looks like you're a seasoned veteran when I look at this, man.
They are. I'm not.
You're good, man. All right, man. Here is, I believe, cover A, right?
So this is actually our variant cover. So what we did, yes. So no. You're no worries. So when we were, as I said earlier, we were very direct we were very intentional with how we were building this Kickstarter. And again, a lot of Simone's fan base is based in Italy because he himself is Italian. And as I'm sure you know, with tariffs and comics, shipping sucks. So we really wanted to do our best to say, okay, if someone wants to contribute, but money's tight, or they just don't like physical for whatever reason, we are going to try and meet you wherever you want to be met. And so with that answer, we are doing our first tier as a digital only tier. And we're like, cool, how do we do something a little different? This is actually the variant cover. So this is technically cover B of Simone's, I guess, but it's our first Kickstarter, so there's no cover A, cover B yet, but this is actually our variant cover. So that's what we're doing for our digital. The digital edition will have the variant cover.
So this cover is only available if you get the digital version.
Yes, but the funny thing is we pre-save. So what we did, for those who are playing at home about Kickstarters, there's a new thing called pre-save campaigns, which I learned from Tyler James on Comics Launch, which is you kind of build some pre-built-in stretch goals, we'll call them, that don't necessarily affect your bottom line. And so for us, we wanted to do digital pre-save goals. And so one of our first goals, if we were able to have 100 pre-saves, everybody who ordered a physical copy would get a digital copy for free regardless. Nice. So everyone who orders a physical copy will be getting a digital copy, and they'll be getting this said cover of copy.
That is so cool, man. That is dope. That is dope.
And then,
what a great idea, man. That's really unique.
You.
Yeah.
And then this is technically the A cover, and again, $15 we thought was fair enough, for being a first timer, and also it's a 48th page, oversized, and yeah, that's Simone's kind of fisheye cover.
Yeah.
And then we have all our kind of yep, there's Sean's in full color.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I cannot believe you got a Sean cover.
And that's Antonio's colors.
Art, and I just know, boom, that's Sean. He just has such a unique, especially with movement. And that's why he's so good at cars. I mean, I don't know if there's another artist in the world that does, and I think everyone knows this, right? This is not Mobile, and some of the other cars that he's done in some of his own indie titles are just insane. And the movement that he's able to create within a still picture, I mean, you just feel like everything's going fast. It's insane. And this is no different.
Yeah, and I think he deliberately does that because he wants to take on, because I mean, he did what, horses and Zorro, and he does cars all the time. So he's like, okay, what are the things people hate to draw the most? I'm gonna just be like the best at it.
You can have just a foot issue, just nothing but people's feet. Because I feel like horses,
Rob Liefeld.
Horses, cars, city landscapes. Not that they're hard to do. People hate doing them because of the detail, and then obviously feet and hands are always really difficult.
So how much you want to bet at some point Sean's probably done a panel or page, I think in his early work, where it's someone, their foot is flooring on the gas pedal, they go in a car and they're racing against a horse, with like a city backdrop.
100% that's happening. 100%.
Just to make sure that Sean's like, I'm gonna just show everybody just.
Well, this is awesome, man, to be able to have a Sean cover, man. That's insane.
Yeah, we're very fortunate.
And then one of my favorite
friend Sia.
Yeah, Sia is just one. If you're not following Sia on YouTube, please do so. Probably one of the most positive, like, I don't know, it's just, you always feel good when you're watching her, man. She's just super down to earth, very honest. She goes out of her way to mention as many people that joins her because she knows how important it is for a community. Just an absolutely fabulous human being. And I had a blast getting to talk to her. I already knew of her and her work. And then after getting to know her, when you're able to take the person and get to know that person a little bit, and now you just have even more appreciation of her art because the person behind that art is just such a wonderful human being.
1,000% agree with everything you said. And if you are listening and you want to check out her channel, I believe she streams every Saturday around 1 p.m. Pacific time, if I remember correctly. So if you want to check out her channel, that's usually when it happens.
And she's normally drawing something, so you could watch her process. Like it's pretty amazing.
I think she's going over the whole Neo Wonderland right now while she's doing it, outside of one-offs or whatever.
Mm-hmm. No, she is. She's going page by page, and hopefully you all backed it. I don't know if it's still a late pledge, but that thing looks absolutely amazing as well. And I know you really helped her out a lot on that as well, at least with the marketing side of it and getting the. But yeah, she's freaking talented, man.
It wasn't too hard. I mean, her work speaks for itself.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Let's go, man. She's so talented, and this is definitely one of the covers I got, man, because I gotta have Sia in there, and then hopefully I get to meet her sometime at a con, so I get that bad boy signed.
Absolutely.
But then we have this one. This is the Rob one.
This is Rob. This is the Chew Mosley farmhand man himself. So it's interesting how small this world is, because to now be in a position where I'm at, again, not to spoil it, but I'm just like, how did this happen?
I mean, a lot of hard work, man. A lot of hard work for sure. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, again, when you're able to build trust with people, I think these are the type of things that happen, Chris.
I mean, I'm gonna flip it on you for a second, if you don't mind me, and please indulge me. How is it to be? I mean, you've started this channel. You've been doing it for years now, and you've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of famous people. But it's like when you talk to Mark Millar, and you're interviewing Mark Millar, or insert famous person, Jason Aaron's, whoever. How does it feel for you to be at this moment? Because I'm sure you probably remember the early days where you're like, I have one view. And now you're at a position where you're at. So I guess, how does that feel for you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no, it's an awesome feeling. I started 4 years ago. It was a lot of indie folks, which I really was able to build a really awesome community of indie creators that we still talk today. I've met some of them at like C2E2. We got an Airbnb together. So building that community has been absolutely amazing. And then once you start to, I do a lot of begging, to be quite honest. That's what you have to do in order to get people to come on. But it's always about being respectful. Like, and that's why I don't do book reviews. I just don't touch that. And it doesn't mean I like everything I read, but I also don't want to influence somebody that might like something that I didn't like. So I purposely don't really crap on anything. That's not my thing. Once in a while I've been on podcasts and it'll come up and like, it wasn't for me, but I never trash on anything because it could be for Chris, but maybe it just didn't touch me in a way, right? And we all have different likes. So I think being very respectful, I try to do more of I don't want to say journalistic. That's probably a little too much, but it's really just getting to know the person, what makes them tick, why they love what they love, why that story is so important to them. Like those are the things I try to focus on. And then the audience could decide whether that's a title that touches them in a way. And then you make your own decision. I've had people on that people can't stand. I've had people on that people love. I actually don't care what your background is or what your beliefs are, or anything like that. My channel is open to creators and to each their own, man. So I stay out of politics. I stay out of religion. Those are like the two worst things you can bring up in a podcast, because right away you're dividing your audience. And I just want people to get to know who Chris is, right? Because there might be someone that is like, dude, this is exactly what I've been looking for. So I'm not going to, if I like it, I'll tell you. If I don't like it, we'll move on to the next thing, man. That's just how I kind of operate.
That's very healthy of you, my friend. How dare you try and be a good person?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I start trashing things, I will blow up. I'll have 100,000 subscribers tomorrow. I just don't. I have to go to sleep at night, and I have to feel good about myself. And those kind of things just don't do it for me. I know other people really enjoy it. That's just not my thing. So yeah, anyways, I think over time, just building trust, people know that if they come on, I'm not going to, after they've been on, kind of crap on them or do something that like, wait a minute, I was just on and he was so nice. Why would he say that about me? I don't get into that. And what happens is people trust you and then they're willing to come back on. And then when you start to build out a little bit of a resume, people like, oh, you interviewed. Okay, then I feel like I could be on because you've interviewed this person, and that person wouldn't go on your show if you were going to do that to them. So you just got to build trust. You have to be really honest about what your intentions are when you have people on. And just like you building out, this group of amazing creators that have trusted you with their IP. Once you crap on something, they're not going to come back to you and ask you to do the same thing, right? So I think we're very similar in the fact that we try to be extremely respectful of the creator. I have my own comic book. I've written a comic book. I've paid an artist. It's hard. It's not easy, man. It's hard, and so I don't know. I'm probably saying too much, but that's just how
no. And then I think that's awesome, man. Because I always want to know how it feels to be on the other side sometimes. Because I did YouTube for a hot second, and I quickly realized it wasn't for me. But that's also, you have to try and learn and see and understand, and so I try to do that exact same thing as you said. Before we pivot off to that, I have one more question, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. Do you still have any, let's say, whales, we'll call them, for podcasting guests? Is there someone where you're like, who is this person that I still want to get? Is there one or two?
Oh, there's quite a few. I mean, obviously Sean Murphy, and I've talked about that. He's very busy, so I don't want to. I'm not going to be reaching out to him every day saying, hey, how about now? How about now? How about now? I try to be really respectful with that kind of stuff. But Robert Kirkman, Otley would be amazing. He's one of my favorite artists of all time. I mean, there's a bunch, man. There's just a ton of them. Dennis Cohen from Milestone, who started Milestone Comics. I think he's one of the best artists ever. I love him. I just picked up his title that was written about him, which is absolutely incredible. It's insane, man. This book just goes through his whole history. I got his little signature right here, which is just in mine. I got to meet him at San Diego Comic-Con and take a picture with him. I have Joseph Illijon quite a bit. I'm very respectful of him. He's been in the industry for 30 years. He wasn't one of the founders of Milestone, but he came on very early and was very instrumental. Christopher Priest I've had on a few times. That's always giddy when I have him on. And now I have him on all the time. So we're like, it's just a normal conversation. But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, those three for sure. I'm probably going blank now, but there's a bunch, man. Obviously, Scott Snyder, Dracoda, what they're doing. I would love to have them on to talk about it. They're on quite a few podcasts, but I don't know if I'm big enough yet. But yeah, I think
I'm sure you're probably on their radar. It's just a matter of time.
That's why I said I want to stay steady Eddie and go after folks, but I do try to balance out. Again, I have to be careful how I say this. I don't want to sound like I'm getting all these big names. All I have to do, because I don't. Like, there's a lot of begging, there's a lot of time. I do like mixing in a lot of indie stuff. That way, as people are coming to the channel, maybe because I had Philip Kennedy Johnson and Nick Klein on, which I have Philip on all the time, but to get Nick Klein to come on, he lives in Germany. He's not a big like crowd person. He gets a little, it's not his thing, right? So for him to come on was awesome. So people will come on to see that, and I hope they say, "Oh, what's this Marcus Walker thing?" And then hopefully get more eyes of that, right? So I try to have indies on there and do a good blend between people who have already are in the industry and then people who are trying to get into the industry and help the indie, because I am at heart, I probably say 55 to 60% of almost all the comics I purchase are indie. Because I think indie's really important. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of people doing a lot of swaps on main characters like in Batman, and like that's not my thing. I don't think that helps anybody. I think it actually does more damage than it does good. But I also know the importance of everyone being represented, and indie is where it's at. If you're not going to create a character that helps represent people, indie is where you could do it, and I want to highlight those people for doing it. So anyways, I'm carrying on a little bit too much.
No.
I love comic books, man. I mean, here's my stack just from today. Don't tell my wife. I hit the comic book from work. I just love it, man. So yeah, to answer your question, there's quite a few people that hopefully I could get my hands on. But you've been instrumental. Like Sia, I would have never got Sia on if it wasn't for you. And I'm so glad that I was able to, I don't want to say check off that box, but to say I was able to talk to her, because I think she's just an incredible artist. And then I got to know her. I'm like, holy crap, she's just an amazing person too. That's amazing. Because not everybody's like, you're like, I don't know if they'll ever come back on again, right? And everyone's got their own. But, yeah. So hopefully I answered your question.
No, absolutely. And God bless you for supporting indie comics.
I mean, indie's where it's at. I think some of the best stories are coming. I mean, look at Dork and what it's done. I mean, it's insane, man. Issue 1 right now on eBay, in a 9.8 in CGC slab, without even Brett's signature on it, it's going for $300. It took a little over a year for Absolute Batman issue number 1 to hit $300. And that's the hottest comic book in the world right now, right? It's insane, the success around that. So I love it. I had Kurt Pyers on, and he has a new title called 51 that came out, which I got to read early with him. Nice. Hilarious. And it's already sold out. It was sold out before it hit the stands. Like, it's already going to print 2, and already speculators are doing what they do, right? So I love that kind of stuff, man. It's so fun. And I hope this title does it too, man, because these are the titles that people are looking for, Chris, that they're like, dude, we got to get our hands on this, because if it's not here today, it might not be here tomorrow, which is good for you, because that brings in people for that issue too, allows you to do second prints. Like, all that stuff is super healthy, I think, for the comic industry, and specifically for creators, because to be honest, the vast majority of indie creators lose money making indie comics. They do it out of the passion and love that they have for comic books, and they want to get their story out there. So yeah, that's all. I'm so glad that you hit your goal. I didn't think you would ever not. But, yeah, it's so cool you hit your goal, and I think you're going to crush it, man.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And, we're just trying to do our part. Again, we try to be reasonable with our ask and get it out there and just hopefully connect with people. I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen next week when we go to MegaCon Orlando. Again, my first time ever being at a signing, and we're doing an ash can. So it's like, hey, does anybody care? You know what I mean? Am I speaking into a void? Because also it's like, there's so many people at MegaCon Orlando, and it's like, who's going to care? But the craziest thing, truthfully, if I'm just being honest, I've had people text me and DM like, oh, I'm going to come say hi. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like that's just because I've always been behind the scenes, and now I'm starting to be front and center a little bit more. And I'm trying to bring Simone with me this time so he can get the love and respect he deserves. And it's one of those moments where I'm just, yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so so Oni Robot Studios signed a deal with Scott Collectibles, and Collectibles is bringing them over. So him, Bruno, I think Ivan, and a few more, they'll be there. And so I'm actually going to be at Simone's booth, I think Friday and Saturday, depends on my schedule. But we're going to be selling the ash cans there, and I think we're going to try and sell them for $5 or $6, nothing crazy. We're just there to get the word out, and give out flyers and things like that. So yes, me and Simone, I think that's going to be, I don't want to say maybe the first time, but I think that'll be the only time, if I can recall, that we have planned for us both to be together to sign something. Because again, we can send books to him, but that's expensive. We can fly him over. That's expensive. So what I'm thinking is, depending on how many, because we're printing, I think 200 ash cans, we might have me and Simone, and if Sean's open to it, have maybe Sean sign a few of them, and then potentially either sell them on the Kickstarter or give them away as exclusive wrap, or do something special. Because again, everyone's attention is so splintered in a million different directions, and especially at a con. You know what I mean? Like there's the Lord of the Rings cast, there's Carl Urban, there's there's 1,000 different things going on at cons, and I'm just like, I have an ash can.
Well, let's do. I'm definitely going to come by to buy one of those ash cans. I'm going to buy another one, have you both sign it. Let's have you come back like the last week of the Kickstarter, and let's do a raffle and give one away. I think that would be fun because, it's a little expensive to go to Orlando Con, Mega Con. I'm going. Fortunately, I was able to go with a buddy. But I think that would be a lot of fun, man, to help bring some more eyes to it and get someone who didn't get to go there to do that.
Absolutely. I will be happy to give you one just for free as a friend because you're amazing, and you can give it away to whoever you want. But also, dude, that's very cool. Like, thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it.
No, I'll pay for it, man. I don't want to take advantage of anything, man. I'll buy a couple. We'll get them signed and we'll give them away. I think that'll be a lot of fun, man. And I think when people see this title and really dig into it, I think it's going to be really popular. And to say you have the ash can of it, I think it's going to be pretty special, man.
Yeah, and we want to try and be as best as we can with people and be honest and transparent. Nothing's like a money grab in that regard. We're just trying to do something special, and if people respond, that's even amazing. So, yeah.
100%. All right, man. We get into the Kevin cover here.
Yeah, and that's the craziest part is, so when Kevin, we were doing it, we were just like, hey, let's dial up the horror a little bit, or at least make it a little more spooky if it were, because again, me and Kevin are going to be launching a horror action book next year, and I just wanted to make sure I was taking care of my teammates before the book even started.
Makes sense. Looks awesome, man.
And then we have the Sean Murphy bundle. So if people want Sean stuff, because the artist edition is 30 by itself and the Sean Murphy cover is 20 by itself, we figured, hey, if people want both, they can get it at a discount. So we're doing a $5 discount because we feel like we're trying to help people as much as we can when we can. So that's that. And then the next tier is our collector's bundle, and that is everything. So again, you get eight different versions. And they're all, or not eight different covers, we'll say. And you get everything. And for $95, we figure that's a respectful ask, so to speak. And for those at the 72-hour, you got it for $80. So you got it even at a better discount. So
this is dope, man.
And then
I might have to change this, man. Just
And also, if you go at the collector's edition and higher, so basically tier 8 and up, you get your name printed in the book.
Oh. Well, then I'm definitely doing it.
That wasn't a sales pitch, but I appreciate it.
I love it, man. I love it. That is dope, man.
And then Simone's offering commissions. He's doing, I think, original. He's not doing original characters. He's doing existing pop culture characters. So if you want a mech, a Final Fantasy, a Power Ranger, a Batman, whatever, he's happy to do that. And we might have an add-on maybe next week that could be an upgraded version, let's say, but we're still trying to work on that logistically. But that was very kind of him. And then for the art collectors, the next ones are arts for art people who love original art. So specifically, this is the introduction to the K-Rave. So this is Marcus entering the crave, as we call it, and it's the original piece, full on paper and everything. And then the other one has already been sold, which I was very I don't want to say skeptical. I just had no idea because it was a spoiler. So if you scroll down, we blacked it out. So as I said, we had two kind of big moments in the book that we didn't want to spoil. Yeah. So this is the ending of the book, and it's a very pivotal moment. And we were like, am I going to regret selling this page? Because, it is a moment that I absolutely love. And Simone crushed it. And I'm like, Simone's like, nope, we're doing it. Let's sell it. And I'm like, okay. Luckily, I know the person who bought it, and I know it's going to a very loving home. So I'm very, very grateful. I'm grateful to the person who bought it because I wasn't expecting it to. It was like this. It was one of the very first things to sell, and I was like, wow, I'm very humbled by that. So
that is dope, man.
And
so
then,
is the whole comic being done traditionally?
So for a few pages, Simone decided to do original because he wanted to just convey a certain emotion with his pencils, and I was like, hey man, you're the artist. I'm not here to tell you how to do your craft, so you do you. And so for the variant cover, Simone actually did this one by hand as well, and we just thought, hey, if someone wants to take it, we'll do that, but we'll see. It's a big ask. It's $1,000, but worst case, if we do a second one and if it doesn't sell, maybe we can keep it for the next one. And if someone's like, oh my God, I love it, how can I get it? Then we might have it. If it doesn't go, if it goes unsold. But again, we're learning, man. We're trying.
I think, I once people get this in their hands, I think you're going to be pretty happy with your second one for sure.
Awesome.
So all your tools and all that good stuff and the rewards. That's awesome, man. Well done too, man.
Thank you. That is full credit to Trevor Richardson. He was my editor, and he was also my graphic designer for the Kickstarter. So I give full credit to him and Simone, because Simone was like, hey, for the back matter, I want to kind of do this hexagon looking print. And so Trevor's like, cool, we'll do that. And so the hexagon is Simone, the typography is Ryan, and the little nuclear global biohazard sign is actually Zach. So the guy who created our intro video, he also did our, on my Instagram, we did this like warning video where it's like warning kaiju attack. So that's basically everybody's hands are on that one piece. So it's like Ryan's typography, Simone's hexes, Zach's kind of overall aesthetic, and then Trevor pulling it all together. So there's probably like 4 people working on that one image outside of the cover artists themselves.
So that's crazy, man. Very good. And then how I'm gonna have to use this, how to add on. Yeah.
And then we got advanced reviews by Steve Maida, and then from Jim Zub.
Man. Jim Zub's one of my favorite writers. I have him on all the time. I think it's wonderful. It's probably the best Conan run. I know people will get pissed because obviously there's a lot.
I mean, at this point, he's kind of right. He's kind of the guy, right? You know what I mean? Like outside of Robert, like it's Jim, right? Like I don't know Conan, so I don't want to misspeak. But
I have almost the full run from Marvel. I'm a big Conan guy, and I am so happy Jim is on that. He is literally the incarnation of Robert E. Howard. I mean, how he writes Conan. It's just insane, man. Cool. So that's high praise from him. I mean, Avengers, when Avengers movies were hot in the movies, I mean, he was on Avengers as a writer. That's crazy.
Yep. And there's this is the team. That's me. That's Simone, and that's Antonio, and then Taylor and Trevor and Ryan. So
that's cool, man.
But yeah, that's right. So Brian is the lead singer of Demon Hunters. So for those who or if you're keeping track at home, that's Ryan. He looks like a metalhead.
yeah, definitely looks like it. Yeah, that's so cool, man.
So yeah, that's our Kickstarter.
Well, bro, we're gonna do our part to make sure that people get the word out. But yeah, congratulations, Chris. This is phenomenal, man.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. I know I was being lighthearted, but again, this is 3 years in the making. It's strictly just me, Simone, Trevor. It's our core group of people just making this happen. And, you know, it happens also because people like yourself are so kind enough to have me on and trust us. And I just want to say to you, and I know we're live, so I want to say this to your audience. You know, thank you, man. I really do appreciate it, because this is how indie comics works. And you're making it, you know, you're a big part of that. And I want to make sure if someone doesn't tell you, I want to make sure I say it to you. So thank you, man. I really appreciate you giving me the time.
No, absolutely, Chris. I'm a big fan of yours, man. And I appreciate everything that you've done for me. And I look forward to seeing you in Orlando, man, to be able to shake your hand. And
oh, of course. Am I kidding me? We're definitely gonna either grab a coffee, a drink, whatever, and get you some ash cans. We'll take care of you, brother. No problem.
Well, Chris, man, again, thank you so much, everybody. The Kickstarter link is in the show notes. It's right here in the comments. Get over there, back it today. I'm telling you, you're not going to regret it. And I cannot wait to maybe another 15 days when I have those ash cans in my hand. Let's give some away and get some excitement. You know, you have that you're at the top, and then you hit this valley in Kickstarter where you really have to work hard to get noticed. And then that last week, people start to come back, you know, and they're trying to figure out money, which is very understandable. So let's see if we can't bring it home, man, and just kill it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, again, I know I said it, but thank you. And we'll definitely catch up in Orlando, my friend.
All right, my friend. Well, Chris, thank you so much. Everyone that stopped by, thank you for hanging out with us today. Really appreciate all of you. And until next time, man, have a blessed week. And Chris, thanks so much for hanging out with me, man.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
All right, brother. Take it easy, man. Peace, everybody. Yeah. Take it easy.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.